Hey guys, welcome back to Ollie Talks Airsoft. As promised, we're going to be talking about the Sega 12K, but we're going to be talking about what it's like to actually use in game. The first thing that I had to deal with was only having 2 mags, and these mags are massive. I actually have a Haley Strategic mag pouch on my side, and it normally has Kydex in, but it does have an option where you can remove the Kydex, and that meant that I could actually run my second mag on my hip. The thing was, I ended up not doing that, and I just ended up using my dump pouch as my sort of reloading source, you know, instead of using that pouch. The reason is that re-indexing these mags is an issue. So if you're going to be running a Sega 12K and you've got more than like a couple of mags, you're probably going to want to run it like either from some really big, maybe 417 mag pouches. They may work, but certainly from a dump pouch. So that's what I was actually finding to be the easiest thing to do. Because I only had 2 mags, and obviously you get 15 shots out of each one of these mags, it meant that I had 30 shots total before I had to bust out the speed loader. So I had a 90 round speed loader with me, and I was finding that I was getting through all of the BBs in my speed loader, as well as all of the BBs in the mags, and I still had plenty of gas left in there. So as far as like taking this out and making it skirmishable with just 2 mags, as long as you take a speed loader with you, then you can do it. Next up, on my lunch break, I took a bunch of different BB weights and ran it through this thing. Basically, it was a lot better than I thought, and I know that a lot of people were concerned with like the fixed hop up and things like that. This thing flies 0.32s absolutely perfectly straight. So certainly at 20 degrees, yeah, your best bet is going to be some 0.32s in this. So those people that were concerned about actually, you know, is this going to be able to hop heavier weight BBs? Yeah, it can, and we're still reaching out to like really extensive ranges. So we're talking like over 40 meters that you can be shooting with a tri-shot shotgun, which is pretty insane, to be honest. Because I was playing CQB, I was just running 0.25s, and they were going up at the end of the flight. But obviously, like when you get into the winter months and things like that, then you'll find that actually maybe like 0.25s, 0.28s, as you've got a little bit less power going through the system, you'll get a bit of a steadier flight on them. But certainly for the summer months, 0.32s all day in this thing. Wow, just wow. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend as your BB weight. So anyone that was a bit worried about not being able to run some heavier BBs, you can certainly do it. I was seeing 0.4s drop off, 3.6s were dropping off as well. Little bit more range than the 0.4s, but obviously, you know, 0.4s give you a slightly tighter grouping, but you know, you don't get that extended range. The 0.32s seem to be like the sweet spot that I found. So absolutely great. Was it still usable on 0.25s though? Absolutely, yeah, it was still very, very much usable. The kind of CQB that I was playing, the engagement distances would tend to go from less than a meter up to, at the longest, about 40 meters. So, you know, there is a lot of versatility on the site. There's lots of different elevation changes as well. So you have a chance to sort of shoot down an auditorium and things like that. And certainly using 0.25 shooting down, you can really see them sort of start to curl up. But actually in some situations, that's not a bad thing, especially if you're shooting through the top of a doorway, you can actually shoot people that you can not even see. What's it like when you're taking it out and going up against other people? So I think the biggest issue that I found with this was obviously conserving shots, making sure that I had plenty, and also just the length of the barrel. So when you're trying to like be in a confined space, I did actually find myself folding the stock quite a lot, and that was really useful to be able to do. I just chucked on this sort of replica Magpul Sling, which is, it's fine, it works. You know, it held the gun for when I needed to like either reload or switch to my pistol or something like that. So actually really, really impressed. The whole like construction not being not being steel or anything like that, the lightness of it is actually fine. Like I thought that it did sort of I mean, there's no wobble in the gun. It's certainly very solid, but the plastic did feel kind of cheap. I'm kind of glad that it's not like a heavier polymer, because, you know, this wasn't actually too tiring to use throughout the day. I didn't quite appreciate how much I would appreciate this front checkering, and also this part here, which kind of your thumb kind of sits in. Like, I was using this left-handed and right-handed. It was really, really comfortable in both directions. And also I found that even picking up the front sight, even in really dimly lit environments, was really simple. That beaded brass really does kind of pick up whatever kind of lights around, and it just gives you something to aim off. For me, I don't even know if I'm going to bother putting an optic on top of this, because it just seemed to perform exactly, it just, out of the box, it just performs absolutely fantastic. So going up against this was a bit of an issue for the other team. So I'm not going to say that it's overpowered, but certainly when you're getting into those one-on-one engagements down a corridor, which everyone does in CQB, this is like kind of like the staple of, you know, a lot of what happens. Well, when you're in those exchanges, you're used to firing one shot at a time, or if you've got a standard pump tri-shot shotgun, you'd be firing 3 shots, ducking in, pumping, and coming out again. Now, firing 3 shots is great because you've got 3 times as many chance of hitting them, so you're tripling your chance of actually hitting your target. But the problem is when you come back, you've got a pump, and you do have a slight delay in, well, assuming that you want to get back into cover, or, you know, unless you just want to stay there, you know, you do have a slight delay. What I found with this, obviously, is you pull the trigger, you fire your 3 shots. As long as you're roughly in the right direction, it means that the other person has to give up that corner in order to not get shot. And actually, by the time they're ready to pop out, any experienced player will realise that it's been a tri-shot being shot at them, and they'll pop out again quite quickly. With this, that kind of technique didn't really work. So I was shooting at some like quite experienced players. I would fire a shot, and then I'd sort of try and avoid theirs, but stay on the corner and stay holding it. And I found myself winning corners way more often than I would just with a standard rifle. And when it comes to sort of like helping your team to push up, winning corners is really, really important. So it almost helps, like, maybe as like I'm getting older and my eyes maybe aren't as good, having that try shot and being able to like follow it up immediately with another shot and another shot really made the difference in being able to pop out and those quick exchanges and trying to win corners. So essentially I found myself, you know, normally you would be sort of popping out and coming back in, pumping. With this, I found myself popping out, shooting, and then trying to maybe just move my head back in, but get back on the gun as quickly as possible. And then, you know, you can follow up, depending on what range they are, a single or a double tap should be fine, because at a bit of range, the BBs spread, so you're not actually going to be hitting them with all 3 shots. So not quite as mean at range. What's it like up close? It does hurt. Massive apologies to a guy called Ryan, who took this to the face like an absolute champ. Came to me in the safe zone, like nose bleeding everywhere. And I was like, oh God, that looks awful, you know. And he was like, yeah, that was you. And I was like, I'm so sorry. So again, apologies for that. You know, the whole reason we go and play Airsoft is not to hurt other people. You know, that didn't make me feel good that like his nose was all bloodied and stuff, because that's not my intention of what to do. It was my intention to shoot him though. So it was like, that's part of the game. It's happened to me. It will happen to me again. It will probably happen to this guy again. So far, I can confirm that this absolutely dominates in CQB. I didn't feel underpowered at any point, even knowing that I only had sort of 30 shots before I would need to get out a speed loader and, you know, top off each mag. I still didn't want to go to a rifle with 5 or 6 mags. You know, I still didn't want to upgrade to having, you know, 300-400 BBs. I was still quite happy with just having like under 100 within these 2 mags and only 30 shots. Like, it is just really it's really good. It really is that good. Until you take it out and game it. I was trying to encourage people in the safe zone, and like, not in the safe zone, but like after the game and on lunch and stuff, to like have a quick shot with it, because my goodness, like, and if you're one of those people, like, just drop a comment down below and let me know honestly what you thought of it. I'm kind of blown away by this. I think it's a really great platform. I don't really have quite enough good things to say about it. I did have a couple of great moments in the last game. They end up switching me onto the other team, and I found myself managing to push down a corridor a few times, managed to flank the enemy team, which was originally my team, a few times, and then kind of managed to just go on a little stalking run with this shotgun, and it was so much fun. Apologies that I didn't get any kind of like GoPro footage of it. I'm terrible at doing all that kind of stuff. I'm really about like going out and shooting, and like I just love the Airsoft game. I'm so bad at editing videos and kind of doing it. I've tried. I'm going to try more. I'll get better. But I think definitely some gameplay with this is going to be worth it when I get a chance. It was just that good. So if you're thinking about what to get for your next Airsoft purchase, I rarely say this, but this should be on the list. It's amazing. It's genuinely an amazing Airsoft gun. And I think it's just going to be as home out in the field as it would be in urban and CQB environments. Obviously the inner barrels go to about here, so you can easily sort of chop like 6 to 8 inches off the barrel if you want to do that and make it even more CQB friendly. It's not going to affect anything else. This gun absolutely smokes. Like, if you're going in the field up against AGs, you're going to have no problem taking them out with this. I wouldn't normally recommend a tri-shot for out in the woods, but I really want to take this out myself. Having seen how it performs on .32s, and the grouping that you're getting at like 40 meters is like the width of a doorway, that's perfect. Like, that's exactly what you want it to be at 40 meters. So I can't wait to take this out, test it out at range, and try even more. I was limited to like 40 meters at the place that I was. Honestly, this thing is going to be a game changer, and I implore anyone if you can get hold of one, do it. The mags are going to be super rare for a long time, but as long as you got some speed loaders and maybe a mini can of gas, amazingly you're not going to feel underpowered. I guarantee it. I genuinely guarantee it. With this thing, you will not feel like you're the person with the weakest gun on the field. It's pretty. You can tell by the way that I'm talking about this that I'm more enthused. Like, when I unboxed it and looked at it at first, I was like, maybe, maybe not. After actually using it in game, I can confirm it is dynamite. Once again, dynamite. Damn, how did TM keep doing it? I really don't understand this. Yeah, it is just such a solid performer. Time will tell how it stands up to green gas, but certainly I've stripped it down. I've had a look at everything. There doesn't appear to be like any damage, and the wear is minimal. So I want to run it for a couple more games before I can sort of really talk about whether it's going to have any longevity issues. But for the time being, wow. That's pretty much all I got to say about it. Wow. More updates to come, more testing to come, and we'll do some other bits on this coming up soon, because it's just way too exciting. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Once again, I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the likes and the comments and all the subscribers. I can't believe that we're almost at 5,000. That blows my mind. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you very soon for the next video. Take care.